Hello people, welcome to another exciting episode in our Photoshop design series. In this video I'm going to show you how I designed this poster in Photoshop. So the first thing I want to do is click on file and click on new. And I'm just, since it's a poster I want to post on Instagram, so I'm just going to give this very simple poster like this. So it's going to be 4 by 5 inches, resolution stays at 300, and of course I'm going to click create like this. Everything else stays the same, right? So first things first, let me go over to the resource file for this particular video is in the description of the video, so do well to click on the description so that you can get the resource file. Alright, having said that, let's move on. So the first thing I want to do is just define my background. So to do this, I'll just come here, click on this, click on solid color. I can use any color of my choice. I'll just leave it at white for now, subject to change. Right, so I can click on this one. I'll just get rid of this like this by deleting. Okay, so you notice how my workspace is arranged like this. So if you want to know how I arrange this, you can find the video just up there. I gave a detailed description of how to arrange your workspace like this. Alright, so having said that, let's move on. So the first thing I want to do is I'll go and bring in the first image, which is this. Just drag and drop like this. You drag it and drop it, hold down the alt key. I'm using Photoshop 2021, right? You can use a higher version, lower version. If you need the software, please click the link in the description to get the software from the community, right? So I'm just going to make this smaller. I think somewhere around here is going to be nice. Move it upwards. The bottom line, just make sure it's in the middle, so just press enter like that, and there you go. Right, so quickly I'm just going to apply a mask to it. I want to get rid of these areas. Select your brush, and you can reduce the size of the brush here like this, or better still, you do it manually with the bracket key. So I'm just going to go with doing this manually. So I'm just going to get rid of these areas. I'm going to go up slightly. I'm going to go up slightly here. Make sure you're not doing too much. Just okay this way. You can reduce the flow to about 17, and then go further, add some extra mile to it. I'm just going to bump this back in case I have to come back and use the brush. So now that that's out of the way, so let's define our background color. So click on this. Of course, how do I do this? I'm going to get my color from the clothes actually. So double click on the background like this. What I'm going to do is, with my eyedropper selected, I'm just going to select an area here like this. Okay, so I might decide to go over and select the lighter area like this, which is this part here like this, and boom, that is where I want it to be. Okay, great. So having done that, you have this set and ready to go. So but before I do any other thing, let me make adjustments to this image, right? So to make it pop and to make it stand out. So to do that, what you want to do is make sure you're selecting the image and not the mask. Please select the image and go over to filter and go to camera filter like this. When it opens up, a few things you want to do, just follow my settings. I'm just going to go over first. I'm starting with contrast. Add some contrast to it. I'm going to reduce the highlights just a bit, increase the shadows like this, and I'm just going to go over to the texture, add some more texture to it to make it pop more, and a little bit of clarity wouldn't, that's not bad. And okay, good. So I'm just going to dehaze by, normally I don't use this often, so I'm just going to dehaze by 2 or 3. I think 3 is good to go. And okay, so I just want to correct this. So dehaze is actually 3, right? Shouldn't be more than 3. So at +3, you're good to go. And when you're done, just click OK. So you can see the before and you can see the after. So most times it's very important to add some pop out effect to your designs. Right? So the next thing I want to do is make this background come alive. So the first thing I want to do in this series is actually add a glow to it. So create a new layer here, go over to your brush tool, make sure you're using the whites. So what you want to do now is increase this like this, and my flow is set to 100. Like you can see, I'll just add some glow, make sure it doesn't get to this part here, right? So you can reduce the size and gently come over to this part here, and while you create a good amount of glow around these areas. So I'm just going to change this to linear dodge add. Right, so let's work on the background. So select the background. What you want to do is go over to the resource file. I'll just go and bring in this particular image. So I'm just going to drag and drop inside like this. Right, so this is easy and straightforward. I'm going to reduce the size like this, move it upward. I have this, and click enter when you're done. So with this, what you want to do is change the blend mode to what? Pin light. Make a duplicate copy of it like this, and what you want to do is with this one selected, hold down shift, select the two of them, right click and click on convert to smart object. Right, great. So what you want to do at this point is add a little bit of blur to it. So go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur like this, and that does the trick. So click OK. I want to get rid of these areas because I won't be needing this part. Mask it out like this and go over to your brush tool and easily, voila, just get rid of these areas like this. Okay, right, so that's out of the way. You can reduce the opacity and just bring it down a little bit, not too much, like that. All right, okay, so having done that, the next thing I want to do is go over to my resource file, and I'm just going to bring this image here of a nice road that leads to, I actually don't know where this leads to, right? So I'm just going to bring this down here like this, and I'm going to make this slightly bigger, position, rotate this well so it's like kind of like straight like this, and voila, there you go. Okay, so so what I want to do with this one is very simple also, right? So on the selection tool, select this image I just brought in, this particular one, this one here, and what you want to do is also make it pop. So basically we're making everything, we bring in pop. So camera raw filter like this, and what you want to do is just go over to where you have textures and bump this all the way up, clarity goes up, and shadows come down like this, and boom, there you go. Nice, right? Great. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is we'll come back to this later on, but directly on top of this, which is the light, I can name this light, light, good, light. So this is light, and I'm just going to name this ground. Right, great. Okay, so we have light and ground. So directly on top of the light, just stay on the light layer, go to your resource file. I'm just going to bring this next image here. So drag and drop like this, and press enter. This should be on top, so drag it to the top here like this. And what you want to do with this is make it a little bit bigger, so Ctrl T, and just going to increase it this way. Already this thingy, this node, and is looking somehow, so to get rid of that, click enter first. What you want to do is right click and convert to smart object again. So when you press Ctrl T like this, you can see it has mysteriously vanished. Right, so let's put this way, and great, good to go. So I'm just going to select this one here, Ctrl T. I want to make it slightly bigger, just this way. Great. Okay, so with this one, since I've made that one bigger, law of proportion, I'm going to make this slightly smaller like this, and boom, there you go. So instead of me making this pop and going to camera raw and having to repeat all those processes, quite tedious. So what you want to do is, since you've applied it to this image, come over here to where you have the layer. So what you want to do is hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and drag this guy here and place it here. You can see I've added the same effect to this guy over here, right? Great. So now that that's out of the way, what you want to do basically here is create a new layer here directly on top of this. Create a new layer. So what you want to do is I'm going to be using this color, right? So click on this foreground color, select this color so it becomes the foreground. Now that I have it, you can go over to your brush, turn off the cap locks so you don't get this plus sign, and what you want to do is gently brush off these areas here like this, right? So on this ground, what I want to do is I'm going to add some blur to it. So go over to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. I'm just going to bump this up like this. I think this is nice, and click OK. So with this one that I created, this brush, right? So what I want to do with this is I'm going to take it up later on, but then let me just work on this first. So what I want to do, I want to create realistic shadows. So I'm just going to go directly on top of this. I'm just going to stay on this image and go over to, I'm going to flip this. So I'm using the black because I want shadows. Go over to brush, select the brush tool, and create a new layer here, right? So make this small, make this smaller. Somewhere around here is good. I'm just going to measure this part here, and I'm just going to click once, right? Click once and press Ctrl T to resize this. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger like this. I'm just going to put it underneath it like this. Click enter, and I'm going to make a duplicate copy of this and Ctrl T, and I'm going to flip horizontal, right? So I'm just going to bring this one here and position this well, nicely, right click enter and just click enter like that, and voila, there you go. So let me zoom out. So this is the second one here, right? So what you want to do is use your arrow key to just take it closer to it like this, and boom, there you go. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is, like I said, I would want this brush effect above everything. So I'm just going to take this all onto the top here like this, so I have it on top. So I'm going to change the blending mode to screen. Let's see. Okay, so let me just leave it at normal here. I have other plans for this, right? So let me just go over to I'm just going to stay directly under this, but before I do that, select this. I'm just going to group this, Ctrl G, and I'm just going to name this shadow. So shadow, great. Okay, so and okay, so I'm going to select this, group everything together, which is this. Make sure your interface is properly arranged. So I'm just going to name this Ronaldo, since that's the name, CR7. And okay, so we're good, right? Okay, so having done that, the next thing I want to do is throw in some text. So I'm just going to go directly under this, create a new layer, and I'm just going to go over to my text tool or type tool, put this at -50, and I'm just going to type Cristiano. Bamboo. So I'm just going to make this bigger, make it bigger this way, so it's Cristiano, like this, Cristiano. So we're going to make this white, double click on it, and yeah, we're going to make this white. So this color is quite light, so I'd want to add some depth to it. So double click on it, and just going to come down a little bit like this. I think somewhere around here is cool. Okay, great. So this is the color code, you can use this, and I'm just going to duplicate this one here. So click on the Cristiano, Ctrl J, and Ctrl T to highlight everything. Bring this here. So what you want to do with this is take this down like this, leave it here. So it's a Cristiano. So what you want to do is, with this first one, which is the one on top, right, create a mask for it like this, and press G on your keyboard, make sure this is selected, right? So what you want to do is just drag from this point to this point here to fade it out, right? So I'm going to do the same thing with this one here. Click on this, click on the mask. So I'm just going to drag from this point here to this point here to create something like this, right? So I'm just going to go back to my text tool, and I'm just going to type the full name, Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, so you have Cristiano Ronaldo. Ctrl J with this one here. So I have a duplicate copy here. Great. So with this one, I'm just going to bring this here. So I'm just going to position this here. Of course, I'm just going to change the spacing. Instead of, I'm just going to put 200, and 200 apparently isn't going to work. So let me just make this 400. So 400 should do. So I'm just going to position this well, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ctrl T. It shouldn't be too much on the outside, so I'm just going to make this, put this here. Okay, so with this one, I'm just going to make it smaller, Ctrl T, make it super small like this, super small, and I'm just going to change this from -50 to like 2000. Great. So I'm just going to select it, and of course this one too is too big, so you should make this smaller, Ctrl T, and bring this here. So press OK when you're done. right? So I'm just going to change the color of this one here. I'm going to use something like this. And also for the text, you can explore. So click on text, you can choose your color from this part here, whatever you want. Just make sure you're not doing too much. Okay, so double click on the text, you can change the color. You can use something here, or you can use this dark shade, whichever one works for you. Double click on it again. For this one, click here and select this color. So whichever one works for you is actually nice. Probably I'll just use the lighter shade of all these colors, right? Or I can even leave it like this, the way I have it. So when I mean lighter shade, let me click out so you can see what I mean. So with this one now, you can see that the colors are actually dark. Let me go back to text. Select the text like this. So you can use white, and you can also use the same thing here also, which is white. Just play with the colors, or you can use something that relates to the background that you use. You can use a different color, right? So for this one, I'm just going to use white because it's giving me the kind of effect I'd want to create with this. Okay, so I haven't done that, right? I'm just going to go to the top here, right, and Ctrl T with this, and I'm just going to increase it like this and press enter. So what I want to do with this one is very simple. Create a new layer above it, and I'm just going to press D on my keyboard, which reverts this to black and white. Switch it by clicking on this arrow, and I'm just going to go over to my brush, turn off the caps lock, and I'm just going to let me zoom out. I'm just going to add in some highlights here this way. Okay, great. So now that that is out of the way, let's go on and do some other things. So this background, the blur value is actually too much. Double click on it, and I want to reduce this just slightly so I can see all of this clearly. Great. Okay. So at this point, let me see what I can bring in. I'll throw you in. Great. So what I want to do is, I took our time to type all of this out, so I'm just going to drag in and place it here, right? So click enter. I'm just going to move this glow downwards like this, right? And I'm just going to change the color of the text that I brought in, right? So how do I do that? Very simple. So what you want to do is click on it, double click on this, and what you want to do is click on color overlay. Click on it where you see this gray, click on this part here, and select any color from this part here. So click OK and click OK to have that done with, right, like this. And the next thing I want to do is this halftone effect. I want to increase it. So I'm just going to come here, which is this halftone effect. Ctrl T on your keyboard, and I'm just going to basically increase it until I get something like this. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's finalize this design. So I might want to bring this down just a little bit and put it here. I can still give room to this, make it slightly bigger, right? So the next thing I want to do is go over to my resource file, click on this, and I'm just going to bring in the logos, drag and drop like this, and boom, I'm just going to bring this here, and when I have it in the right place, I want it to be, click enter like this, and I'm just going to drag it all the way up, it should be on top like this, right? So a few things you want to do before we finish this off. So go to the topmost layer, select color balance, and what I want to just do is throw in some blues to this design. So add some blues, add some cyan, and not too much cyan. Instead of going to the cyan, go to the reds, and go over to the highlights. So what you want to do is add some blues to the highlights like this, and boom, you're done. So guys, this is how I created this amazing poster inside of Photoshop. Okay, so a quick one to spice this up. I almost forgot this. So go over to this to the fill color. I'm just going to go in and bring in this image here, and throw it in like this. So what you want to do is make this bigger here. While you place this, click enter. I know some persons would actually leave this way, but then nope, I'm not going to leave this way. So I'm just going to change this to let's see what works best. Okay, so I'm just going to use luminosity, but what I'm going to do is go over to filter, go to blur, and apply Gaussian blur to this. I'm going to blur this out more. Okay, good. I think I'm okay around 26.3. I'm just going to reduce the opacity a bit, like this. Alright guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel, now is the right time to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any of the content that I'm going to drop in anytime from now. Without having to say any other thing, I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.